For nearly 4 decades, the Ponderosa Ranch was one of the most successful and beloved theme parks in the American West. It welcomed millions of visitors, generated enormous revenue, and allowed fans to step directly into the world of one of television's most popular shows. Then, in 2004, everything changed. A billionaire purchased the land, rejected a government offer of more than $50 million, and closed the gates forever. What remained behind the fences was never meant to be seen again, and what was quietly removed before nature reclaimed the site hinted at why the ranch disappeared so suddenly. The story begins in the late 1950s, when television audiences fell in love with Bonanza, the long-running western centered on the Cartwright family and their massive Ponderosa Ranch near Lake Tahoe. The series premiered in 1959 and ran until 1973, becoming one of the most watched shows in American history. At its height in the mid-1960s, nearly 19 million people tuned in each week. Viewers were drawn not only to the characters, but also to the sweeping scenery of blue water, towering pines, and rugged land. NBC heavily promoted the show because it was broadcast in color, helping its parent company RCA sell color televisions. The burning map of the Ponderosa shown in the opening credits became instantly recognizable, and soon fans wished they could visit that place for themselves. That wish began to take shape because of Bill and Joyce Anderson. In 1962, the couple settled in Incline Village on the north shore of Lake Tahoe, an area that was still quiet and largely undeveloped. Bill was involved in building the town, and a twist in his contract left him in control of more than 400 acres of wooded land overlooking the lake. The size and location closely matched where Bonanza placed the fictional Ponderosa. When viewers noticed the similarity, curious fans began showing up at the Andersons' door asking where the real ranch was. Although the one on television was fictional, the interest was very real, and Bill recognized an opportunity. By 1965, the Andersons reached out to NBC and David Dortort, the show's creator, with a bold idea: turning their land into an official Bonanza theme park. At first, NBC executives were startled, especially since Bill had already started calling the property the Ponderosa Ranch without permission. Still, the idea had too much potential to ignore. A licensing deal was signed, NBC provided blueprints of the television ranch house, and construction began in 1966 on a 570-acre property filled with pines and granite boulders. The Andersons worked carefully to recreate the Bonanza world. They tracked down old lumber to build an accurate replica of the Cartwright ranch house, and constructed a Western-style town modeled after 1860s Virginia City. NBC contributed set designs and props, while the cast filmed promotional appearances on site. With every commercial and event, the line between television fiction and real place grew thinner. By the summer of 1967, the Ponderosa Ranch opened its gates. Visitors were greeted by a large wooden sign featuring the Cartwright family. Inside, the experience felt surreal. Guests walked through the ranch house, seeing the stone fireplace, Ben Cartwright's desk, the dining room, and Hop Sing's kitchen. Guides explained Hollywood tricks, such as fake upstairs windows and staircases that led nowhere, but fans loved learning these secrets. Original costumes hung quietly on display, and visitors whispered as if standing in a museum of childhood memories. Nearby stood Virginia City, complete with a saloon, jail, bank, and shops. Guests ordered sarsaparilla in the Silver Dollar Saloon, watched staged gunfights and robberies, panned for gold, and explored a haunted house. Horse-drawn wagons carried visitors up to the ranch, sometimes interrupted by playful mock robberies. Guests could also ride horses used in the show, enjoy trail rides, or attend early morning haywagon breakfasts featuring unlimited pancakes. Food and souvenirs kept the fantasy alive. The saloon grill served the famous Hoseburger, a half-pound hamburger that became legendary. Over 3 million were sold during the park's lifetime. The gift shops sold maps, costumes, tin cups, and replica guns. A small graveyard near the ranch house marked the resting places of Ben Cartwright's wives, later joined by memorials to cast members as they passed away. Weddings were held weekly in a historic chapel moved to the property, making the ranch part of countless personal love stories. Even after Bonanza ended in 1973, the park survived. Many expected it to fade, but instead it adapted. Reruns aired in dozens of countries, bringing international visitors. Families came for the atmosphere even if they had never seen the show. Through the 1980s and 1990s, new attractions were added, including a mystery mine funhouse and an antique automobile exhibit. The ranch became one of the area's largest seasonal employers, with generations of local teens working summers there. Behind the scenes, changes were happening. Bill and Joyce Anderson divorced in 1995, and Bill retired the following year, handing control to his children. The younger generation faced tougher competition from modern theme parks and shifting tourist tastes. Still, attendance remained strong. In fact, 2004 became one of the most successful seasons in the ranch's history. That same year, the land's value reached a point that could not be ignored. Technology billionaire David Duffield, a local resident, made a private offer reportedly around $55 million. Government agencies hoping to preserve the land for public use had assembled over $50 million, but their process was slower and uncertain. The Anderson family accepted Duffield's offer. In September 2004, the Ponderosa Ranch closed its gates for the final time after 37 years. The final weekend was emotional. Attendance broke records as fans rushed in for one last visit. Shelves emptied, food ran out, and visitors lingered at the exit, reluctant to leave. Many cried. Employees said goodbye to a place that felt like home. After closure, fences went up and the property fell silent. Buildings deteriorated under harsh Sierra winters. Curious explorers slipped in, spreading rumors of hauntings and decay. Eventually, preservation volunteers stepped in to save what they could. Wagons, signs, vehicles, and structures were removed. The historic chapel was dismantled and rebuilt hundreds of miles away. The Cartwright Ranch house was carefully labeled and stored, waiting for a chance to rise again. By the early 2010s, most of the site was cleared and returned to nature. Today, only faint traces remain behind locked gates. Yet the legacy lives on. Artifacts appear in museums, souvenirs surface online, and fans still speak of the ranch with warmth. Plans are underway to rebuild parts of the Ponderosa elsewhere, giving future generations a chance to walk through its doors again. For nearly 40 years, the Ponderosa Ranch made a fictional world real. Though the land is closed and the buildings gone, the memories remain, carried by those who once stepped into a place that felt like home.